Okay, so the final thing we are learning about for this week is when you multiply fractions, you want to know just by looking at them if they're going to be greater, less than, or equal to one whole. So when kids see this, they usually get really scared and kind of confused because they haven't learned how to do this yet, and it can look a little bit intimidating. But it's really simple. It's just simply understanding what you're looking at and then simply finding an answer. So when we look at these three expressions, we're dealing with fractions, we see that the common thing is we have 24 24ths, 24 24ths, and 24 24ths. What we need to remember is when we have a fraction with the same numerator and denominator, that is one whole. It's pretty much the same exact thing. You're literally looking at the number 1 in a different form. So if I take the number 1 and I multiply it by a fraction that is greater than 1, I want to know what's going to happen. Well, you can kind of think about it like this. If I have 1 times 1, then I know my answer is going to stay as 1. If I have 1 times 2, then I know my answer is going to get bigger. If I have 1 times a fraction, for example, sorry, I'm falling off the board, that is smaller than 1, then I know my answer is going to get smaller. So that's what we're doing here. We're simply looking at the fraction that they are multiplying it by and figuring out, okay, is this equal to a whole? Is this greater than a whole? Or is it less than a whole? So if we look at this first example, we have 1 whole times 4/5. We know that 4/5 is less than a whole, so if we multiply 1 times something less than a whole, we know our answer will be less than 1. If we have 24 24ths times 1 whole, similar to the example we did down here, this is pretty much just saying 1 times 1. So we know it'll be equal to 1 whole. And lastly, 24 24ths times 6/5. 6/5 is more than a whole because 5/5 is a whole. If we know it's more than a whole, then we know this answer is going to get, I need to write this really sloppy, greater. Okay? So very simple. It's just simply not getting intimidated by it, understanding what you need to do. You don't need to do any math here. It's just simply understanding what you are looking at and choosing the right choice.